It's been way too long since I've made a video on this car, so let me recap a little. Earlier this year, March 17th, I came across an opportunity that I really couldn't pass up on. An iconic, highly sought after BMW E46 M3 for only $3,000. Yeah, I know. What was the catch? Well, nothing really. Clean title, it ran, 8 out of 10 exterior condition. Only major thing wrong with it, it had a bad SMG system, which wasn't too big of an issue. I went ahead and bought all the parts needed to convert it into a traditional 6-speed manual, had the guys at PSI Orlando do all the work, and just like that, I had a new addition to my collection. The car did need a fair share of attention. Starter went bad, the coolant reservoir had a crack, and the oil pan was leaking a lot. And oh yeah, the subframe mounting points were in pretty rough shape. I went ahead and got all that stuff addressed and decided to move on to more exciting stuff. I first went ahead and replaced the stock muffler with the Rogue Engineering El Diablo one. Then I installed active autowork headers that made my car sound like a Ricer Civic. Like seriously, just listen. Shortly after, all the bushings were replaced, camber arms were added, AST 5100 coilovers were installed along with fully forged Titan 7 wheels wrapped in Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires. But there was one thing that was bothering me about the car, and I really couldn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. Something that made me stuff this beautiful M3 into a storage unit and not touch it for a while. Today I finally took the M3 out for some air, and it was time to show her a little bit of love. Oh yes. And yes, before anybody says anything in the comment section, this M3 does have shifter paddles, and it does have a traditional 6-speed manual, dual function, baby. I'm just kidding. It just seems like every time I upload a video on the E46 M3, I get so many confused comments. And I'm just waiting for a custom steering wheel from Mazda Auto Wheel. Once we get that, we'll have a steering wheel that doesn't have the shifter paddles anymore. And that way you guys don't get so confused. Like the title says, I've been super scared to drive this car, and there's a big reason why, but I want to show you guys what exactly I have planned for the M3 today. And then after that, I'll take a minute and explain to you guys why I'm scared to drive this amazing car. So we got a little bit of everything going on for the M3 today. We got some aesthetics, like little side marker lights for the car. As you can tell, these are in pretty rough shape, so I went ahead and got some new ones since I already had replaced the lens and the corner lights in the front. Maybe you guys remember when I was doing the head unit for the M3 inside of the car. When I was removing the trim pieces, some of the clips were pretty fragile, they were cracking. So I went ahead and got some new ones so the trim looks good. Another trim piece is for the cup holders. It was looking pretty bad. The car's been sitting outside for so long that a lot of this rubbery plastic stuff was starting to flake away. So there's some good one right here. Little things like that make a huge difference on a car. Also got to do a little bit of maintenance because, you know, maintenance first, baby. We got NGK spark plugs, and we have some fresh coil packs for the car as well. If you guys have been following the E46 M3 series at all, you guys would know that this car was pretty much neglected. It was sitting outside for about a year and a half. God knows when the spark plugs, all the coils were changed. So we want to make sure we do that so the car runs as efficient and as powerful as, you know, as possible. So we'll go ahead and take care of the maintenance first. We'll do the spark plugs and the coils. It should be relatively easy on a car like this. It's pretty simple indeed. Brace bar needs to be unbolted. Cabin air filter cowl has to get removed, which is held on by 3 thumb screws. Oil cover needs to be removed along with the ventilation hose. And lastly, you just got to remove the bolts holding the engine cover on. So as you guys saw, it's not really that difficult to take all of it apart on the E46 platform. Could have been twice as fast if I was using power tools, which I have access to pretty much everywhere here, but I wanted you guys to relate a little bit more and just use some basic hand tools and show you guys that it's still possible and it doesn't take that long. If you guys are wondering, I am at PSI Orlando. I'm sure a lot of you guys are already familiar with this place. Central Florida area, specializes in BMW performance and maintenance. So yeah, this is the place to take your BMW to if you need any work done. Nice sweater, dude. I know. Oh yeah. So I'll go ahead and remove these coils. Very easy to do. There's like little tabs right here. Once you flip it all the way back, it kind of pulls out just a little bit. We'll do that to all 6 right here. Got to be super careful with these plugs because these clips are made out of plastic. You know, this engine has a lot of miles. It's been exposed to a lot of heat, so these can break relatively easily. Let me go ahead and get something to help me prop these out. Honestly, I don't think these been touched for a long time, so it's going to be a lot harder to pull these off. All right, well, that one came off. We are good. I'm gonna inspect these real quick, make sure they're good and I didn't ruin anything. All right, I think we're good. I went ahead and inspected the coils. They look pretty new from the outside, but it's really hard to tell if the internals are good since they are covered in this rubbery material. Regardless, it didn't really matter since I was going to swap them out anyways for a peace of mind. And then I started to remove the spark plugs and noticed something that was not good. There was oil everywhere. Well, I went ahead and took out the spark plugs, and more unfortunate news about this car, but it's not really too much of a surprise. Let me show you guys. So here is the socket that I used to remove the spark plugs. Can you guys tell what's going on here? You see this? That is oil, guys. This socket is drenched in oil, and these are the spark plugs, completely drenched in oil. Every single one. Like, look at that. See that? That's crazy. You know what that means? Valve cover, or the valve cover gasket, is probably bad. Well, that is super unfortunate. I kind of feel bad putting new spark plugs in there now because they're going to get drenched in oil because of the bad valve cover or the valve cover gasket, whichever the two it is. It's not necessarily going to mess up the plugs because you can always dry them up and they'll work perfectly, but it just doesn't feel right. I feel like if I uncovered that issue, I might as well just take care of all of it at once. Do it the right way. Maintenance first. You guys know how it goes. All right, so let me explain to you guys why I'm scared to drive the E46 M3, right? It's a high mileage car. I bought it for $3,000. There's a lot of mystery going on with this car. You know, every time we work on it, as you guys just saw, we always find some hidden issues. And these engines, if not maintained properly, can be very problematic. We recently took care of the subframe, which, if you guys didn't watch that video, it was in pretty bad condition. The subframe mounts looked like they were about to just come loose, and luckily we were able to catch it in time. Everything was reinforced. Now it's great to go. One of the biggest concerns with the E46 M3, in particular the power plant, is the S54. It's a great engine, great for racing, high rev, sounds amazing, plenty of power. But one of the, I guess, hiccups about the engine is the rod bearings issue, which you do not want to ignore. They're known for prematurely failing, which can be very bad because they do it without warning and they can destroy the S54 engine, which is a very expensive process to overcome. Engine is expensive to get, and obviously the labor, either the time that you're going to do it yourself or the money you're going to pay a shop to do it is pretty extensive. And it's something I do not wish on anybody. This car right here has 170,000 miles. I don't know if the rod bearings have been done. There's no history, no receipts, no record of that. Previous owner didn't own either. So my guess is that they haven't been done. And for that reason, I've been super scared to drive it aggressively or around spirited drives because I would hate to have such a beautiful car that I got such a good deal on just go bye-bye because of a rod bearing. $4,500 coilovers, a $3,000 wheel setup. I do want to take the car to the track, push it to its limits, but I got to take care of the maintenance first. Rod bearings is at the top of the list. And now, as you guys can see, valve cover gasket, plugs and coils, and everything else that needs to be taken care of. Suspension wise, we're good to go, but now we're just focusing on the engine part. All right, we're back at PSI. It's another day. We were waiting on this right here, the valve cover gasket and everything that goes along with it. And now it's time to get back under the engine and take everything apart once again. If you guys have been around the channel for a while, you guys know that I like to emphasize one thing, and that is maintenance first, which is why we're here taking care of the S54 and the E46 M3, and why I haven't really pushed this car, taken it to the track, and really put it to the test. When it comes to efficiency, everything adds up, guys, which is why it's so important to change the valve cover, gasket, you know, all the O-rings and stuff like that, to make sure that the spark plugs are not drenched in oil and they run efficiently. You know, the spark plugs run how they're supposed to run and they're clean. The car is going to get better gas mileage, better performance. The driving experience is going to be overall better. And one thing that is super important that a lot of people typically overlook, and they really shouldn't, is the quality of fuel that they pump into their car, especially high performance cars like this M3 right here. My go-to option is Shell V-Power NiTRO Plus Premium Gasoline, which happens to be today's video sponsor. Well, here's the scoop. This is a high mileage BMW. I know how people feel about high mileage BMWs, but this one is in pretty good shape. But I want it to run as efficient as possible going forward. I really want to enjoy this car, especially when I get everything done to it. That's what Shell V-Power helps out. It has 4 levels of defense against gunk, corrosion, wear, and friction. The first one being gunk, which you guys are very familiar, especially with BMW engines, especially the turbocharged ones. Carbon buildup is not a good thing. Slows down the car, messes with efficiency, looks nasty. Something you definitely don't want. And Shell V-Power helps with that. For example, this is an N54. It just recently got a single turbo upgrade, and quite possibly is going to get a port injection upgrade, which is where fuel gets, you know, sprayed over the valves. Typically those valves get caked up, messes with the performance. Well, if you have those injectors spraying out Shell V-Power, it's one less of an issue you have to worry about. The second benefit that you get is protection against corrosion. You see there's a lot of metal parts that's used within the fuel system of a car, and if you have low quality fuel just kind of sitting there, you got the fuel pump just kind of submerged in this low quality fuel, then corrosion can start to happen, which is going to destroy your fuel system. Shell V-Power helps against that. And the last 2 defenses are protection against wear and friction, which are absolutely vital when it comes to your engine's life long term. If you use Shell's V-Power and their smooth glide technology, fuel gets sprayed into the cylinder walls. It creates a thin layer of protection, reduces friction, meaning that your engine's gonna run like new much longer. So next time you're thinking about doing maintenance to your car, adding performance, don't forget about the quality of fuel that you pump into your car. It's very, very important. Next time it's time to fuel up and you're not on E and you can drive a few extra miles, hit up Shell, get some Shell V-Power NiTRO Plus Premium Gasoline. Your car will really thank you long term. The valve cover gasket itself wasn't in very bad shape, but the O-rings that go around the spark plugs didn't feel like rubber at all. They were pretty rock solid, and when compressed, they made this cracking noise, which is definitely not what you want for a good seal. Now that a good portion of the engine was revealed, Ali took this time to inspect it, mainly looking for weak points such as the bad Vano system. Everything seemed to be in pretty good shape despite the car having over 170,000 miles. I'm glad to hear that the internals of the S54 looks pretty good from what we can see, which means that the previous owners really kept up with this car. 175,000 miles and it runs pretty much like new. All right, real quick, let's go ahead and inspect the condition of these O-rings that go around the spark plugs. They're pretty stiff. Some of them, yeah, see a little bit of cracking. Hard to hear them though, but they're in pretty bad shape. I think that's where they were leaking from. Yeah, so you see that rubber is not supposed to sound like that, like rocks. And then these are the other O-rings that came for the bolts of the valve cover. Didn't even get to inspect these, but
they were leaking.
They were leaking?
Yeah, because you can tell on top of it.
Yeah, so what Ali was showing me that these were definitely leaking. These are the ones that go around the bolts. Yeah, this is supposed to be rubber. So this is rock solid. Part of the reason that the spark plugs are drenched in oil is because of these, and also because of these. So a combination of the two. Yep, goes to show you. Previous owner didn't really keep up with all the maintenance. A lot of it, but not all of it. So there's 2 things I already like about the E46 M3 over the E90X platform. One is that it is much easier to change the valve cover and the valve cover gasket. And then point number 2 is that the valve cover on this platform is actually made out of metal, so it shouldn't crack or deteriorate as easy. On the E90X, it's made out of plastic. Obviously these turbocharged engines get really hot, they start to warp and they crack, and those valve covers are pretty expensive. Now that the gasket and all the various seals were installed, it was time to install the fresh NGK spark plugs. Of course, we inspected them to make sure they were gapped correctly and continued on. She's alive! S54 sounds amazing. At least the valve cover gasket is taken care of. That's one less maintenance that I have to do on this car, or that Ali has to do on this car. At least for now. I'm sure once we start taking things apart on the car and adding more stuff to it, we'll start finding other things. But for now, I think I'm good. I'm happy. Just got to take care of the rod bearings so I can really put this car to the limits. All right, let's go ahead and take care of these side markers. They're atrocious looking, yellow, crusty. They're even cracking. I think this one's even loose. Let's see. Yeah, the clip is pretty loose on this one, so it's pretty easy. Yeah, these are really easy to swap out. They don't cost that much, and they make all the difference, especially if you're rocking some super aggressive wheels. And let's say the paint job is on point. This really adds a super good touch to the exterior of the car. Along with things like this emblem, I'm probably gonna have to change out. It looks pretty bad as well. Like I said before, this car's been sitting outside for a year and a half, so a lot of the plastics are pretty bad. Like you see right here, faded right here, and then the top hood vent right here as well. These need to be replaced. Hopefully the one on this side is as easy as it was on the front side too. Yep, definitely not gonna be as easy. This one's pretty stuck in there. See if this helps. Looks like there might be a little bit of wiggle room right here where I can kind of stick a flathead without ruining the paint here. Let me see if I can be super gentle. Oh, there it is. There it is, and we didn't ruin the paint, boys. I see, that's why it's difficult, because there's two clips. The other side only had one clip, so it made it much easier. So what I was just telling Ali right here, how do you say this? Marelli? Magneti
Marelli.
But I was telling Ali, if you were to get the E46, like in a different country, Europe or whatever, these are the OEM brands for the lights on the E46, whether it's the headlights, the fog lights, the side markers. In the US, we use Bosch. Did you know that? If you go on ECS Tuning, they charge like double the price for Bosch when you can get these Magneti Marelli for half the cost, and they're OEM. Finally, it's much harder to try to do a DIY and to film at the same time, but I got somebody else.
Shut up.
Ooh. Ooh. That was satisfying.
Yeah,
you want this for your E46? Oh, wait. You don't have an E46
anymore.
You guys didn't get to see it. He had a really nice ZHP E46.
That was slow.
Yeah, but it looked nice.
Yeah, but it was slow.
I'd rather take nice over fast.
I'd rather have
nice looking.
I'd rather have fast.
Would you have? All right. Here's a question for you guys. Would you rather have like a bucket that's super fast, or like showroom material car that is slow as I kinda dig the aesthetics more than I dig the power. Was that bad?
Don't lie. You won't say that when we finish the E30.
Oh, look at that. I put the wrong one. Oh, well, the E30 is different. That's going to be a fun car. Have I updated you guys about? No, I didn't tell you what my plans are for the E30. It's not what I originally planned. I think I caught the Ali virus with the E30.
It's like the vid.
Wow. Look at that. Oh, my God. Here we go.
That's the OEM burnt orange.
that's a factory option.
Yeah.
Let's go
straight from BMW.
Side.
You get the Warren edition.
By the way, if you guys haven't, copped the sweater right here, it's super comfy. Even he's wearing one right now. If you guys haven't copped it, so it's a pretty hot selling item on the website right now. You can get it today, and you might actually win a fully modified 335i just by doing that. VehicleHours.com. Check it out. This is gonna sound odd me saying this. I think I prefer the burnt orange.
What?
I think it just looks too new. I feel like the car needs like some kind of a paint correction. I need a wrap or something to really like bring this out. This looks too new for the car. Like, look at this emblem, and then look at the side markers.
Oh yeah, you need to change that to a black.
Yeah. Why were you holding on to one of these anyways?
Dude, I don't know. I just had it. I was gonna put it in the ZHP actually.
Does this come off pretty? Oh.
What was the book time on that?
Oh, the fitment is spot on, baby.
I think it clips in. Maybe it's the other way.
I'm gonna try. No, it's definitely not the other way.
No, it's not. It's not that way.
Come on, Adam. Show them how it's done. This is eBay special, sir? That's eBay special. So you're gonna see if that. Oh, see, fitment is spot on with that old one. So would you take crusty and good fitment, or good one with shitty fitment? I think crusty's going back in there. It just, well, I mean,
the next giveaway is the cup holder. Wow, you're so good.
Look at these mats. This is one of the first things that I always do when I buy a new car. Have to get the all-weather mats.
What are you doing? This is for an X5.
Quality stuff right here.
Nice.
China. German. Well, we're gonna find out if this is for the E46 or not. Oh yes. Oh yes. That looks good. I didn't put the attachments though. Yeah. What you think? That's good. Yes. Next were the clips for the interior pieces. Those were more annoying to install than I originally thought they would be. I built more than enough clip pieces because I figure I'm going to keep breaking them if I'm going to take the trims back off. I do need to get back into the head unit so I can install some kind of a music chip to it. So I did buy quite a few. It's better to buy more than needed, just in case, so I don't have to wait for shipping again if I do need more.
You just gotta put your purse down. I told you, you just gotta put your purse down.
I'm gonna give my Hercules shot at this one. You know what happens though when you use your thumb remains flat. You know what happens with my fingers? They bend.
Oh my god.
So every time I try to put pressure,
you're disgusting.
Every time I try to put pressure, I can't because of the bend.
I'm gonna throw up.
You were able to put pressure like nothing. I can't. Look what happens to my finger when I try to press. I try to put pressure, but I can't because my fingers are just bend.
You got Squidward hands.
This car really has a timeless design. It looks so good, especially with the Titan wheel setup, AST coilovers. Of course, we went ahead and changed this. Looks really good. Now I got to change this emblem next. The headlights, corner lights, the seals, everything looks really good. Got to fix up this bumper, wrap the whole car. It's gonna look absolutely amazing. I got a whole lot of more M3 content coming very soon to the channel, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure and like the video if you enjoyed it. I'm going to be using this car a lot more now that I'm giving away my 335i, so should be very excited, especially for you guys that really like the E46 platform. As always guys, thanks for watching. Till next time.